I got all this bit of information from entertainment.timesonline.co.uk, and that's today, so that's what, the 8th of July. Okay, so research that I found out was about Saatchi, Charles Saatchi, who is actually quite an inspirational collector of contemporary art. In 2007, he bought 46 works of art from James Howard, who was a graduate at the time, aged 26. He bought 46 pieces of his graduate collection. They caught his eye because they were made up of like digital photographic prints, all put together and made as internet advertisements, should I say. So I mean, it's slightly different art to what we're used to seeing, something that's reflecting more on the media and stuff that's going on in the world today. He paid £4,500 for the 46 works. And on the statement online, it said that the price of his work has probably risen instantly from that. So it's amazing to see that if one person likes your work and buys it, what's to say the price can't go up forever of people wanting to buy it off of you, etc. So talking about Saatchi, should I say? 3 years ago, he sold almost his entire collection of Hirst's work, Damien Hirst that is, back to him and his dealer. The reason why he did this, because their relationship had soared after Hirst described his patron as a childish businessman who only recognises art with his wallet, which I can see is true with an art collector. Maybe he didn't have so much passion, but who knows. But in the end, they both made quite a considerable profit from it. So, to be honest, I don't really know what he was complaining about anyway. It's things like this, like Damien Hirst's Rotten Cowhead, which is probably worth up to about £1.4 million sterling, and it would have only cost a few £100s to make. So who's it to say that this is going to cost 1.4 million when really it only costs a couple of hundred to make? Is it just his name? These are things that I'm going to have to look further into my research, but already I found out some quite interesting points. Some of the other works that Saatchi as a collector has bought was Jenny Savile's. It was one of Saatchi's earlier prodigies, and he bought her entire degree show in 1992. And now her work is subsequently sold for more than £2 million sterling. I mean, one person's just bought it again, and suddenly she's worth millions. Tracy Emin, actually, Saatchi bought the My Bed piece, which featured soiled sheets for a reported £150,000 sterling. And within 6 years, that had actually soared, and the price it's now worth, the value of it now, is £1 million sterling. So you can see that prices are just keep on going up. I think it's quite surprising, really, but I'd quite like to look further into that, so I'll keep you posted on what I find out. Next up, I went and just wanted to find out, what is the most expensive piece of art? What is it? Who's it by? Etc. Because seeing things like what I've just said, I mean, what is the highest piece of art? These other things are going for £2 million from £1,500,000. So I looked on Wikipedia, and I know I'm not meant to, but it's for my reference only. I'm not going to use this or quote it in my dissertation, because it's not really a reliable source. I just want it from my background knowledge sort of thing. And what I found out was number 5 in 1948 by Jackson Pollock is actually currently the most expensive painting ever sold. And that is worth, in US dollars, £140 million. And that was it, $1 million, sorry. And that was in 2006. So, not many things tend to go down in value once it was so expensive. But who knows if that person's going to be willing to sell. Okay, so looking on Wikipedia, I found out that art gets sold in a few different ways. You can either have private sellings, or you can have auctions and dealers. So not directly through the artist itself. And I found out that Christie's and Sotheby's are the main two. And I would actually quite like to look more into auction houses and see what their role is to play on what art is worth now. Why is art so popular? Why is it so expensive? I ordered it off Amazon. It's only £7, which was great. It's not an easy book to read, as you can see. I shall show you. And it's quite a bit of a beast with lots of terms that I didn't quite understand. But the good thing about it is it's near each page, which let you know a number, a bit like footnotes. And it's got, after each chapter is there its own appendices, so it was useful. It's called Value, Art and Politics by Jonathan Harris, and basically it's a book full of sort of dissertation essays on the subject, criticism, meaning and interpretation after postmodernism. And there is actually a mixture of writings from various different professors in various different different professors with different subjects. So some would be art professors, some would be science, some would be history professors. So it's quite useful getting different people's perspectives and getting all that information from one book. Was great. I mean, I've got loads and loads of quotes which I'm going to use in my dissertation. I'll let you know a few of them now. Don't want to give my game away. Okay, so here's the first one. This is on page 23. Okay, so it is indeed commonly affirmed that truth well painted will certainly please the imagination, but it is sometimes convenient not to discover the whole truth, but that part which is only delightful. We must sometimes only show half an image to the fancy, which if we display in a lively manner, the mind is so dexterously deluded that it doth not readily perceive the other half is concealed. Thus in writing pastorals, let the tranquillity of that life appear full and plain, but hide the meanness of it, represented its simplicity as clear as you please, but cover its misery. So I broke this down and read it sentence by sentence, and it started to make a little bit more sense to me that if we had half of one painting, would it be half the price? Or if you had a painting that's half the size, would it be half the price? By the same artist. Each quotation that I get from the book sort of answers one question but opens up another question, and I've been getting a lot of information, and it's quite nice to just record it down so I can play back and listen to everything afterwards. Okay, so this is my next quotation, which is page 93 to 94. From the late 18th century, many artists, theorists and critics have argued that art is all the better when it's primitive, in one way or another. Land especially when it issues from a primitive artistic self. So, them saying primitive is then meaning something that's quite early on, going back to the roots. What is art? Art was there to express your feelings to start with. Now it's a whole different lifestyle. You're going into art and people want to be somebody that they're not. They want to earn the money. Some people produce art probably just for money. And I tell you what, in my questionnaires, I think I'll find the answer to that. So reading through this research has given me a bit of a clue of what sort of questions I want to ask. I actually have a few quotes as well from inside one of the essays, and they're actually quotes from other people. So this one's from Kant Emmanuel in 1790. There can be no rule by which somebody could be compelled to acknowledge that something is beautiful. These next few quotes and that quote is to do with what is aesthetically pleasing to one person may not be aesthetically pleasing to another person. So, Jonathan Winckelmann in 1764 said, "Beauty is one of those great mysteries of nature, whose influence we all see and feel, but a general, distinct idea of its essential must be classed among the truths yet undiscovered. If this idea were geonomically clear, men would not differ in their opinions upon the beauty, and it would be easy to prove what true beauty is." I mean, you can relate to this, can't you? There's the whole thing about beauty being mathematical, the face being symmetrical. So why, in art, it's just not one person that thinks something's amazing? I mean, this is what art critics are here for, aren't they, to be honest with you? I mean, you could have one piece of art, somebody might like it, somebody might not. Who cares? Do I care if somebody else likes something else? Not really. It matters to me what I think, not anybody else. So, maybe as well for my questionnaire I can get hold of an art critic, which would be a good idea, and get quite a lot of insightful information from them, I think. And my last quote from John Ruskin in 1849 is, "Every man knows where and how beauty gives him pleasure." So, would an art seem more a piece of art seem more pleasing in a bathroom, or on the wall in your lounge, or on the wall in the hallway when you come in, or would the same piece of art look the same in your house as it would do in an exhibition or in a gallery next to everybody else's art that's famous?